Hey guys, this is Coach Carly, and you're watching Bull Time. Hey guys, so this is like our new segue series that I have that I'm gonna do each month. So each month I'm gonna kind of talk a little bit about how our athletes have done, how our athletes have competed, a little bit about their training, more about their performance that they did that day. I know I always put a picture up with a post on Instagram and Facebook, but now I kind of giving you guys a little bit more to refer back to, a little bit more to have as a memory, and just kind of build our little mustache nation that we have. All I want to do is give back to our community. I want to give back to you guys that have competed under my coaching, and really showcase our team. And that's kind of what this series is all about. So it's going to be a monthly recap of everyone that has competed in the previous month. We're in October now, so we're going through our athletes that have competed in September. Kind of like a 6-year anniversary for me kind of deal that I've thought about, of goals that I've wanted for 2021, and a way to give back to our athletes, and this is it. So I hope you enjoy this series that we have. It shouldn't take very long. We haven't had a lot of people compete in September, but we did have 2, and I want to make sure we highlight them and not let them feel like their accomplishments didn't go unnoticed. And this is also a good way for our in-house clients to really get to know a little bit more about our remote clients. And actually, both of these people that competed this month were both remote clients. So it's a good way for you guys to check them out. A good way for us to build our camaraderie statewide and nationwide, and I guess worldwide, considering that we're now in 5 different countries. So that's kind of cool. So I'll get started. First, we had Nikki Anderson from Wisconsin compete in a bench-only USPA meet. We started about 4 months ago. We were intending on doing a full meet, but the problem is we had a lot of life things, injuries, a lot of things out of our control that led us to just do a bench-only meet. And we walked away with a 2.5 kilo PR. We went back. This was our first meet together. It wasn't a full meet, but it was still a competition. So it was our first meet together. This was, I think, our first meet in about like 2.5 years, pre-COVID. So definitely at least 2 years. And it was like kind of our getting our feet wet again. She already signed up for the meet before we actually started working together. And this was a good opportunity to kind of see how our prep goes. I know we had a lot of pre-existing injuries and conditions that we had to work around, and we did our best that we could. And we managed a 2.5 kilo PR on the bench. Next meet, I know we'll definitely get 200 pounds, that is. So at least 92.5 kilos. Also, I want to thank Greg for handling her. I wasn't able to make it that day because I already was committed to my other client competing on the same exact day, ironically enough. Typically what we do, for those of you who don't know, I travel to every single competition that my athletes do, barring anything that's previously booked or a big life event that has happened that day. So regardless if you're in Washington, California, Texas, Maine, Florida, New York, of course, I will be there at every competition, barring anything else that was pre-existing. So that's the deal that you get when you work with me. I always try to make sure that I'm there, handling you guys, giving you guys a good positive experience, and it just builds our relationship. Next person we had competing was Mr. Jared Callahan. We competed in the September Western New York Fall Open, I think it was called, but it was definitely a Team Western New York meet run by Steve Titus. We're actually running a super total meet together in February that will be run on 2-5 and 2-6 Pro Bowl week, because, you know, the Buffalo Bills may make the Super Bowl, so we made sure to make it on a week where that wasn't as important to miss watching football on TV, because, you know, Bills are going to the Super Bowl. So Jared, first meet, Jesus Christ, in I think 5 or 6 years that Jared has competed. Jared and I go way back, actually. Jared and I used to work together. I think I was his boss for maybe a month or two. And then I dropped down to being his coworker because I knew long-term I was opening up this place. He didn't know that at the time, but I knew that. So I dropped down to being his coworker for about a year. And then I left Best Fitness where we both worked. And then he left approximately, I think like 3 months later. And then from there, he actually took a job down in DC and has been crushing it ever since down there. So this was his first weightlifting meet. For those of you who don't understand the difference between weightlifting and powerlifting, powerlifting is where you do squat, bench, deadlift, 3 attempts for each, 9 attempts total. For weightlifting, you do snatch and clean and jerk, 6 attempts, 3 attempts per lift. So Jared on the day went 5 for 6. He snatched a PR of 75 kilos, and he clean and jerked, not a PR, but technically a PR at his body weight that he competed at, of 86 kilos, which put him at a PR total and at about 5 kilos less body weight than he previously competed. For both Nikki and Jared, a lot of what I talk to about for all of my athletes is this needs to coincide with your life. Everything about what you do in training needs to coincide with your life. Jared's a new dad. Nikki just got started with me. I know is a full-time mom and taking care of kids at home. Like this needs to jive with your lifestyle. And if this is consuming your lifestyle, then we need to have a different conversation. Unless that's part of your goal, unless you want this to consume your lifestyle, then that's quite okay with me. But for the most part, this needs to just jive with whatever that you have going on in your life. I'm gonna bring up the pie conversation. We have 100% of a pie. This needs to fit as a sliver somewhere in that 100% of a pie. With work, family, friends, sleep, nutrition, relationships. Training needs to fit somewhere in there, but it needs to make sure that we divvy up enough time for everything else accordingly based on what your lifestyle goals are. With that being said, the reason I bring that up, Jared and I only lifted twice a week for this prep. So he did a primary snatch day, a primary clean and jerk day, with some variations of those on opposite days. So if it was a primary snatch day, we did some variation of clean and jerk or a lower percentage. Primary clean and jerk day, then we did a little bit more of a snatch variation as well, just to make sure he's habitual in making sure he's dialing in on technique and certain aspects he needed to dial in. But if that's all you can fit in, that's all you can fit in. That's okay with me. Is it a dire need? Is this life and death for you? No, it's not. And that's okay with me. I don't need it to be life and death. I don't need this to be like, okay, my day is fucking ruined if I don't hit this PR today. Should you be upset if you don't hit a PR because you know you should? Of course, like you want it, you care. That's why you get upset. But should it ruin the day where you can't do anything else? Absolutely not. And that's honestly a great way of mentally going about your training, is to make sure that you understand where you are, what your life has brought you to, and how your training is going in order for that to happen. So that was our short snippet for September in October. Next month, we'll be doing a recap of all the meets that we've had. Upcoming, we had a meet on October 2nd, October 16th, October 24th, and I believe that's it. So we have a bunch of clients that are going to be competing and / have competed already in those events, and we'll do a recap in November. So for now, Full Time with Coach is over.